Yesterday that I found you, you're the best thing that happened to me. Might need to 16 minutes past the hour of 9 on Your Women Radio WFM 91.7, Nigeria's radio station for women and their families. Good evening. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama, and I thank you all for joining me this evening, Wednesday, the 15th of December, 2021. How are you? I hope your day has been great. I hope it has been amazing, and I hope your day went very well. I welcome you to Adult Conversations, where we share real life issues and discuss matters relating to the heart. On Adult Conversations, you give advice by contributing on the subject matter without judging. Adult Conversations on Women Radio runs every Monday through Thursday because we are here to break the culture of silence. So if you have a story that you would like us to profile, you would like us to bring to the family of Adult Conversations, send in your story along with your name and contact number. Send in your story along with your name and contact number to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. And on that note, tonight on Adult Conversations, should I confess? Should I confess? My name is Shemu, 35, and a personal assistant. My husband is 40 and a sociologist. We have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, aged 12 and 7. Our 12-year-old son is not for my husband. I got pregnant before marrying him. I've hidden this truth for a while, and it's eating me deep. These paternity test cases are worrying. My husband is hypertensive, and I'm scared the truth might kill him. Please advise me. Should I confess? This one is from Sheon tonight. Sheon is 35. She's a personal assistant. Her husband is 40 and is a sociologist by profession. They have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, aged 12 and 7. Sheon is telling us tonight that her 12-year-old son is not for her husband. She got pregnant before marrying him. According to Sheon, she has hidden this truth for a while and it's eating her deep. She says she's concerned because the paternity test cases that we hear about every day are worrisome, and her husband is hypertensive, and now she's scared that the truth might kill him. So she's asking tonight, should I confess? The number to call to advise Sheon tonight is 07000 917 917. Again, 07000 917 917. You can also do out to send in a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. With 703 175 6537. And of course, anywhere you are in the world, you can listen via the website www.wfm917.com. www.wfm917.com. You can also watch live on Facebook and YouTube at WFM917. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. You can see everything that's going on in the studio on Facebook and YouTube at WFM917. Now, please, when you call in, ensure that you turn down the volume of the radio to the barest minimum so that we can avoid interference, we can avoid unnecessary feedback, and we can hear you clearly. Thank you very much. Also, make it a point of duty to make sure that your advice is kept short, simple, and constructive. Short, simple, and constructive. I understand that sometimes there's a lot to say, but because we know that a number of people still want to speak aside to you, so please keep it short, keep it simple, and keep it constructive. The group chat is also open, the WhatsApp group chat, the WhatsApp Adult Conversations family group chat, and there you can be added if you choose to be. If you want to join the group chat, all you have to do is send your information, send your name and contact number via WhatsApp. Send your name and contact number via WhatsApp to 0703 175 6537. 0703-175-6537, indicating interest in joining the group chat. As always, we give priority to the members of the Adult Conversations group chat, and from there, I'll be taking messages tonight. Kolawole from Ilupeji saying, good evening all. Sheon, what you're contemplating is the most dangerous thing ever. Advice, hold your peace for now. Try and have another baby for him. Let events play out naturally. At the time the truth comes out, feign ignorance and claim that if this is true, you are sorry because it means you must have been pregnant before moving into his house. Be sorrowful and that you support his decision on it, but you're totally ignorant of it. There are some secrets that must not be disclosed no matter the pressure. Can you tell your husband that his brother slept with you? Keep your secrets and prepare for eventualities and face it with a preconceived answer. This advice is less risky than telling him now, and you may be the worst for it. God will help you. And that is from Kolawole from Ilupeju. Francis from Ibafo is saying tonight, good evening to all the Adult Conversations family members. Hope our day was great. Sumtu, how are you? I'm very well, thank you very much. Shion, why didn't you inform your husband earlier that you have a son already before you married him? This is a very serious issue that needs to be ironed out without broken marriage. Honestly, I'm traumatized and I don't know what to say about this issue. Just pray that God should direct you on what to say. Okay. This is AA Stitches, 88 Stitches from Abuja, who says, I don't even know what to say. Too deep. Just keep the secret to yourself. Don't tell or try to take advice from anyone and continue praying. Because I don't know how you want to tell him. Now, wahala. All right, thank you. Gabriel Samson from K2 says, good evening, everyone in the Adult Conversations family. This is a very serious matter. I don't know why women always like keeping this kind of issues secret. And you say that you love your husband and you're killing him secretly. My little advice I can give you is to do fasting and pray for God to intervene in the situation. Then after that, invite your pastor, tell him everything. Then both of you should sit down and settle it once and for all. But it must be a genuine repentance, with your heart broken to your husband, and God will take control. And that's from Samson, from Gabriel Samson from Kitty. He also says there's nothing God cannot do. Okay. Moses from Ikorodu says, wow, the deed is done. I'm sorry I've got no advice on it. My takeaway from this story is the problem you left unattended to today will definitely find a way to complicate your tomorrow. So please, let's all try to face the hard reality of truth, no matter the benefits of lying. Trust me, it's not worth it. Okay, so those are the only messages we have for now. Please keep your messages coming in, and of course, keep your calls coming in as well, as the phone line is officially open. You can call in 07917 You can also reply, you can also send in comments on Facebook at WFM917, and your comments will be read on radio. As we're streaming live on Facebook at WFM917, as well as YouTube with the same handle, you can also leave comments and we'll read it on radio. Comrade is saying, Sheon, better cool down. Make sure you get chilled your guts before you confess. Sheon, before you harm yourself, confess. If you don't confess, the guilt may harm you and affect your emotions and psyche and physical well-being. Does she have a son, or is she pregnant before the man married her? Forget Pastor Jerry. Okay. Hello, good evening. Comrade, how about dinner?
I don't know whether it's the guy and I want to get the small.
You don't declare small. You clear better pass yesterday, sir.
I have chosen without could have 5, not just could have 100 naira. From passing and last year was 100 naira.
By the work now. By the work. Yes.
I was asking people to when my papa and my mama signed 1977.
It's valid. This story hold. The child in question is 12-year old. So this means this happened 12 years ago. Was this your ex? And how many months pregnant were you before you married your husband? How many months pregnant were you before you married your husband? The answer to that question you would know because you can tell exactly how old your baby is. So you would know the answer to this question. How many months pregnant were you before you married your husband? And since you knew about this, you can obviously trace it and know exactly how many months pregnant you were before you married your husband. And the reason I'm asking this is so that we can know who the owner of the pregnancy was and what the situation with that person is. But all that is additional information. The main information right now is the fact that she wants to tell her husband, but she doesn't know if she should tell him. She doesn't know if she should tell him. The guilt of knowing that their first son is not for her husband is eating her up, and she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know if she should tell him or how she should tell him or if she should not tell him at all. She says he's hypertensive and she's scared that the truth might kill him. So she's saying, should I confess? We always talk about open and honest communication on adult conversations. I would like to know tonight, does this apply? Hello, good evening. Chi Chi, good evening. How are you?
I'm good now. I was the other conversation family.
We are well. We are well, and I'm so glad that you called. Comrade is fine. Everybody's doing well. I'm just glad to hear from you. Thank you for calling. I hope you're good.
Yeah. Simple.
Yes.
My advice to the lady is, she's let everything die down. Because we have been saying for the past 12 years. One that you say that your husband is hypertensive. You understand? Are you listening?
Of course.
Something that you know that is he hypertensive. If you tell him now, it's one, he's not going to like, there's no way he will like the boy the way he likes the boy. Secondly, is the BP will be going, and the problem will be a problem. Because you cannot tell me that he will just forgive you like that. You understand me? Just please this, because after all, it's only a woman that knows the father of us. I just think it like that. Because the baby is 12 years now. So there's some secret that you just leave the secret like that. You understand? That is my answer, because if you want to open up, you should be ready for what anything that comes out of it too.
Thank you very much,
so that is my advice.
Thank you so much.
Because of the husband.
Okay, so she made a few points. She mentioned the fact that he may not forgive you, and whatever you see after confessing, you know that you brought it up upon yourself. The second point, and very, very, very important point, is the fact that he may never see that boy the same way anymore. He may never see that boy the same way anymore. He may never love him as much as he currently loves him now that he thinks that the boy is his. And that would affect his relationship with the boy now and even in future. Because the boy is going to grow up thinking, oh, all of a sudden my dad changed towards me, and he would not know until his mother tells him or until somebody tells him later on. And she's also saying the fact that your husband is hypertensive means that it's a major challenge and you do not want to risk him dying. So she's saying this is the kind of secret that you take to your grave. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Hello, Benjamin. Thank you for calling. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
My advice for the woman is she should open up to the man. Because when you say that this is a Yoruba language like this, when Mr. No die, that he will not die. One way or the other, that man will live. Nobody is paying for problem. Maybe the baby friends too, they needed blood. The man says, I have enough blood. take now. And they say, that your son is busy or teaching, so he's not matching. Then the city start meeting. At that time, it will be worse. So the best thing is to take him up, let the man know, and that is all. That is my advice. There's nothing that has not happened on this world that has not happened before, and it still happen again. So she is not the first person to have such experience, and she's not even the last either. So the best thing is to open up to the man, but she should use the wisdom in talking to him, since the man is hypertensive. And I believe that there's no situation in this world that nobody cannot handle. So I don't think that you can keep the man, but it will make the man duty to be rising higher and higher. Because the man will be thinking, this is the people to from me, blah, 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 XYZ. But if she can, bring some people, my family member, I don't know, like pastors, that they can confide in, not just anybody, because this matter is delicate, it's a delicate issue. So this happened to one elderly man I know from our village. He was living in abroad there. So when he came back to take the family back to abroad, they said they should have DNA for the children to be sure that they were children. After doing DNA, they were not to sleep. He was asking me, and this man was the chief. What is going on? They were doing story, blah, 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 blah. I just to cut the long story short. We didn't put the family against abroad, the man remained in abroad, the family remained here. But he flew, and he never did anything. He never did anything. The man is doing that. But he took the truth like that, and their life continued. So my advice is for her to
their life continued, but at whose expense? Did the children not directly or indirectly suffer for that at the end of the day?
The man, because they look at fighting by family members and co. So he just took all as his children. He never regretted anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Thank you for calling.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so he makes a fair point about the fact that she should open up to him and she should tell him. Because if she doesn't tell him now that it's 12 years later, she's going to tell him in another 13 years, 14 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. And the longer it takes, the more it's going to hurt when it finally comes out, because Benjamin says it will come out at the end of the day. And he's also saying it's just, he is not concerned whether or not she should tell her, because he says she should, but he also says the way she tells him is also important, because the matter is a serious matter. So he says she should seek the advice and assistance of family or even pastors to give him to help in the process of telling the truth, of confessing. And now this entire situation is completely tricky. Now, I do want to point out one thing, and I'm sure everybody knows this. There's nothing new under the sun, but there's no truth. There's no lie that hides forever. There's no lie that hides forever. So even if even if he doesn't find out now, if she doesn't tell him now, it's only by luck, just by pure complete luck, that he's never going to find out. And higher chances are that he will find out at the end of the day. And it might now be that he knows, but he doesn't want to let her know that he knows. Because men can be like that sometimes, particularly when it has spanned such a long time and he doesn't feel the need to end the relationship that he has with this child or ruin his marriage. Again, particularly because she's probably been a good wife to him, aside the fact that she brought in a child who is not for him. So when you look at all this together, you find out, is it better to tell him or not to tell him? Because the truth of the matter is he's going to find out one way or another eventually. There's nothing hidden under the sun. It's going to come out one day. So is that one day now, or do we postpone the one day and understand that all these things comes with consequences? And that's the question. 6 minutes to 10 on Your Women Radio, WFM 91.7. And this is Adult Conversations, where we share real life issues and discuss matters relating to the heart. The number to call to give advice on our story tonight is 07000 917 917. You can also send it in text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Lisa. I'm calling from Wawa.
Lillian.
I think she will tell her husband because before she will tell her husband to do it, she's the son of the cancer to tell her husband.
So you think she should tell him? She should tell him now. Okay, please call back if you can. All right, messages coming in. This one is saying, Chichi Chiquito, how's your family? I'm feeling your deep voice. And that's from Comrade Chichi Ame. No, they fear. No, they fear that they go to war. I don't know what that means. The lady knows the consequences, but will she die silently? Adult men are giving me Xmas packet tonight. Even Chichi has her own opinion. So I'm enjoying you. Thank you very much. Okay. Hello, good evening. Please call back if you can. Now, going back to there's nothing hidden under the sun, is it wise for her to tell him, knowing the fact that it may change completely their marriage in a way that it will never heal again? That's a very, very, very viable point of view because it's possible that his reaction, and this is not the hypertension part now, his emotional reaction to the news might be just something else that she's probably not expecting. So should she still tell him knowing this? Please call back. It's important to note that if she doesn't tell him and he finds out somehow, it's going to cause an even bigger problem at the end of the day. It's going to cause an even bigger problem at the end of the day. It's like that Yoruba saying that the thing that we do not want our father to hear is our father that will settle it at the end of the day. I just paraphrase that in English. So if she doesn't tell him now and he finds out from another means, it's going to cause an even bigger problem at the end of the day. So should she tell him or not? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Adewale.
Your name?
My name is Adewale.
Abowale.
Adewale.
Adewale Opayemi. Thank you for calling. All right. Are you a first time caller, Adewale?
Yes, I'm first time caller.
Thank you for calling. All right. Yes, please go ahead quickly.
The only way out is just one way out. And the only way out is that the woman will call. That means after she has decided that the owner of the child wants to collect the child, if the owner of the child has intention of collecting the child, now she will let the husband know that. And she will let them know that it is the father of the child that fighting and that she's dragging with them, that he is not the owner of the baby. So she did not went for DNA. So it was doing the DNA test that she now knows that she has pregnanted before marriage, unknown to her that she has pregnanted before meeting the present man. All right. So by this, I will pray that the man will take us. I know that nothing can happen on earth. After we are met, we are woman.
Adewale, let me be clear what your advice is. Tell me again in one sentence what your specific advice is.
In the sense that let the man know that she has been dating the guy already and she knows that she has pregnanted. She knows that she had pregnant before divorcing the guy, telling the guy to quit from the relationship.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, Adewale. Yes.
The woman will get through.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's saying she should tell him that she didn't know that she was pregnant before she got married. Now, see, I'm not sure we're really, there's one part of this thing that is that that we're not fully considering, and this is the trust aspect of things. And I'm tracing it back to before she got married. Now, even if you got married, even if you were pregnant 2 months or 3 months before you got married, it means that you cheated on your husband, on your fiance at the time, 3 months before you got married. Even if you were 1 month pregnant, because at 1 month you possibly won't even know that you're pregnant at that point. So he would develop trust issues that span all the way back to right before you got married. So in his mind, he's thinking, in another 1 month, I'm getting married to this woman and she's going to be my wife. And he will now start thinking that, oh, in that 1 month that I was thinking I was going to get married to you, you were there with somebody else. So it would hurt on that level as well. Now, when you bring it back to the fact that, oh, okay, now you know about this. How long ago did you know about it? And why are you telling me this now? And then the next question that will follow is, what else are you not telling me about the our entire marriage? What else are you not telling me about our entire marriage? And then severe trust issues develop. There are definitely ways of fixing this. There's a way you can tell him, and it's his reaction to it that's actually the challenge. It's the way telling him is one thing, the way he would understand it and internalize it, and how the effect of that will play out in the course of your marriage as you go on. Now, that's something to consider. But another thing is, if you do not tell him and then he finds out later on, what now happens? What now happens? Where do we go from there? So, should she confess or should she not confess? Because the truth of the matter is, regardless of what decision she takes, there will be consequences at a certain point. As I said earlier, only with luck will she really literally take this secret to the grave. It's only luck that will make her husband not find out in the entire course of his life. I'm going to come back to the fact that the father of the baby, I'm going to come back to the point about the father of the baby. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling.
This is Paul from Ketu.
Paul from Ketu.
Yes, ma'am.
Paul, are you a first time caller?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
Awesome. Thank you very much for calling tonight. I hope you had a good day.
I do. Thank you. So you've already said my mind tonight. This issue, like this, is a very big one to be sincere.
It is, oh, my brother.
Like you just said, in fact, you said my mind already. It's going to be a very big issue. Like, yeah, 12 years is not just a year. It's not even just, not, we're not talking of just a 1 year or something. 12 good years. And you think the man is going to, like, just forgive her that easy. I will advise her, is better, as a child of God, to me, I won't advise her to keep it to herself. But in another way around, like as a child of God that I am, I will advise her to confess it to her husband, but it's going to be a very tough one. In another way, too, to me, it's not going to be easy the way these situations are. God's 12 years is not just an ordinary year. It has gone a long way. That man might have spent a lot on that boy, too much love on him, care at the time, many responsibility on that man's head. And you think you just wake up a day and it's not going to be easy.
So you think she should tell him?
It's better she die it down. Because if she open up to that man, it's going to be a tough one. And the life of that boy will be in danger. We never can tell. Because in love, sometimes the way we cherish our sons is not something. I will just use myself as an example. To be sincere with you, you will love my reaction if I got to find out. I have to be sincere with you. I'm not judging her. I'm not discriminating her or anything. I'm not blaming her for her action. I'm just putting myself in this position right now. Like if I'm the one, believe me, no matter how the love I have for my wife, ah, my reaction will not be a good one.
So
I
are you
won't like
saying she
to.
should tell him or not?
As a child of God, she should confess. But what I'm saying is that I'm not saying she should not confess, but it's going to be a tough one.
Okay,
If
okay.
if the father, like whoever owns that boy, is not threatening her or in any way at all, the better way is for her to die down the issue. But if you
Okay.
see that okay,
Well,
the father of the boy has been like pressurizing her
mm-hmm,
to expose her that is the father of the child or something,
mm-hmm.
okay, it's better to confess to her husband. But if the father of the child has not come in any way at all to threaten her or in anything at all, in any way, she should better die in town for the
Okay.
sake of their family and the child.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for calling.
Good night.
So Paul is saying, as a child of God, tell him. But if I were the one who you tell that kind of information, it's not going to be a funny situation. So he's saying if the father of the child is not threatening to get the child back or anything along those lines, he's saying don't bother telling him. Just secure your son, secure your marriage, secure everything, and die with it, basically. Now, takes me back to the father of the baby. That's why I asked, who is this person? Was this person a random guy that you slept with somewhere in between? Because it happens. Everybody is human. You just have a momentary lapse in judgment, and something like this you carry it for life. So no judgment here. This is a no judgment zone completely, and it's perfectly understandable. You cheated, it happens, it was a sore situation, you felt bad for it, and you probably didn't even know that you were pregnant at the time. So if you didn't know that you were pregnant at the time, then that possibly means that that's why you, or how do I put it now? You didn't know you were pregnant only for you to find out after you had married him. Maybe you did the math and you figured, oh, okay, this boy must belong to somebody else. Now, takes me back to who is this person, and does this person know that they have a child with you? Does this person know that you have a child with them? Does the person know that, oh, there's my son is somewhere out there? Does the person know, or does the person not know? Now, because if the person knows about it, then that means there's an extra person added to the chaos that's going to happen between yourself and your husband when you find out, when he finds out eventually. And we need to know if he is interested in the boy. Because if he's interested in the boy, you need to include him in the boy's life. And there has to be a whole conversation had about whether or not he's to be included in the son's life. So that's a whole different conversation. But it's important for us to know whether or not this boy's father, biological father now, is interested in knowing the boy. That's why I asked, what is your relationship with him now? If there's any relationship with him now, then it will help us understand the true situation of things. Hello, good evening.
Hello, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Elijah.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for calling. All right, so very quickly, please go ahead.
I've been listening to it was very, very bad one, very, 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 very well. And we not the time to, in other conversation, we don't put blame and for me, I think my advice for her, if she needs to meet, I don't know, the type of religion she practices, So for me, I think she should go into pastor or the man anyone. She have to, before confessing anything to the husband.
But why does
She
she
needs to
have to?
meet.
Why does she have to talk to a pastor?
Hello?
Why do you think she has to talk to a pastor? What does a pastor have to do
Because
with this entire situation?
it's life. That is life. Because for me, it's just like you are having symptoms and you don't understand, so you have to visit the clinic. Because they are specialists. So for me, I think in that
How?
kind of situation,
But the pastor is not a specialist now. How is the pastor a specialist on this
as
matter?
a spiritual, as a spiritual, And I don't know, the kind of worship practice and worship believe in. So for me, my advice for her is to look, to just look for, she can't just go and just confess to demand the word.
Why not? Why not?
And the head, the husband life is a teacher, even if it's not at the time, even if it's there, the shocking alone itself is not happening. So for me, I think she shouldn't look for, someone like, so that they can know how to, so that was
All right. Thank you very much, Elijah. Thank you. Okay. Elijah is basically saying that you should not tell him alone. You should seek spiritual counsel, and that the source of the spiritual counsel should be the person that talks to him with you as you break the news. And I'm asking, why do we need a pastor? Why what's the role of the pastor in your marriage? And that's, I'm just wondering, this is just me asking, why do we need a pastor? Is the pastor coming to act as an intermediary, or the pastor is coming to act as a what's the role of the pastor though? I mean, except you're looking at it from, because he is a spiritual authority, you're not going to act a certain way out of respect for the pastor. But I really doubt that that's the situation. If any man, any full-blooded man hears this kind of information, regardless of who's there, they're going to act the way they will act. They will act the way they will act, because this is information that hit from nowhere. Except the man already knows that this boy doesn't belong to him, and he's continuing his love on the boy, he's continuing his responsibilities towards the boy, and that's the only way he won't blow up when he finds out. There's no how any man that was faithful to you, any good father, anybody who has sacrificed time, love, emotional commitment, everything to be there for these children, for both his son and his daughter, there's no how he won't feel it's a really huge level of betrayal and hurt when he finds out. So if he's anger as well, so if he's going to blow up, he will blow up in front of the president of the world, if need be. It really doesn't matter who is there when it happens. If he's going to have a hypertensive crisis, if his blood pressure is going to go up so high that he starts convulsing or falls down or faints or anything, it will happen even if there's spiritual counsel there. Even if your pastor is there, it will still happen. So I'm wondering, what's the role of the pastor though? If anybody can answer that question for me, I would appreciate that, because it would help. Because a lot of people are saying pastor. And I'm over here wondering, okay, is the pastor just to, cushion the effect of the information when it lands? Or what exactly is the role of the pastor? Hello, good evening.
My name is Comrade Godwin.
Hello, Comrade Godwin. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ogun State.
Where in Ogun State, Comrade Godwin?
We need for local government.
E4. Thank you very much for calling. Comrade Godwin, are you calling for the first time?
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is for you. We appreciate you. Thank you for calling. Please, very quickly, go ahead.
Thank you. The issue that you brought is a very complex one. But my question is if she has other issues for the man.
Yes, she has a daughter. She has a minus this boy, minus this son that is 12-year-old. That is 12 years old rather. She has another daughter that is 7 years old, and this daughter is for this man. It's just the first son that doesn't belong to him.
Okay. There is no way any pastor is coming to play this contract. The family has to come to play the role. And the family knows that the man, the boy belongs to the man. So that is where the primary concern is.
Comrade Godwin, say that again.
I said, both family knew that the boy belongs to the present husband. All right?
Okay.
And if the man claiming to have the son takes on eventually, it's going to be a very big disappointment to the man, first members of his family. So but then, the man has to take heart, but it's the family that will talk to the man and ask him that there is nothing that cannot happen under the surface of the earth. But we need to do that by praying and fasting and asking God to soften the heart of the man. Otherwise, in some situations, we are just reacting as if it's ours. Some people might go to extra lengths to make sure that they get revenge instantly. And what sort of revenge are they going to get? Some of them might even decide to destroy the entire family. According to individual reaction, how people will take it, how people will take the pain. But then, you need people to advise her, people that are very close to her, as family members. If they are going to tell the man, they have to tell him before it's too late. It's late already before.
It is too late. Thank you very much, Comrade Godwin. Thank you for calling.
Yeah.
Few points that he made. The timing, he says it's already late and she needs to tell him now. He also said there's no role that the pastor is coming to play, but the family of both the man and the woman should be involved in this so that as they tell him, they will know exactly how it is that they want to break the news to him. And this is important because they already believe that the son belongs to the man, but in reality, he doesn't. So in this case, when she's telling her family or when her family is telling his family and him the news, they would know how to react to it, or they will know how to manage his reaction, and they will know what decision that they need to come to in a way to either secure the marriage or secure just the life of the boy and the well-being of the boy. Now, so many people are going to be touched by the effect of this confession eventually if she decides to confess. Herself, her son, her daughter, and her family. Her family would also feel it because I mean they would probably feel like, oh, you know about this all the while and you didn't tell us. And if he has a good relationship with her family, that relationship is going to break to a large extent. Except this man, even with all the hurts that he feels, except he decides that, you know what, I'm not going to go through all of this. I am just going to focus on the boy, forgive my wife, and move on. Except he takes that decision, there's going to be a lot that would happen for for things to fall into place eventually. So Comrade Gordon is saying it's better now than later. He says it's late already, but it's better now than later. So Chichi was concerned, how would he feel about the boy later on? Now, I don't know what tribe Sheon is from, Sheon and her husband. And now I ask this because this son, it's a sad reality, but sons are always, they're always viewed as a gift, as a bigger gift than the female child. So now that you now say, oh, this son that is seemingly a bigger gift doesn't now belong to me, and then his family is wondering, oh, so you don't have a son. It might not mean anything to them, but if it's a tribe where they take this particular situation seriously, they take the birth of a boy or the presence of a male child seriously, it would count against him and his wife that, oh, so now you don't have a son. And then it's important to know again the status of the biological father of this boy and whether or not he needs to be involved in this, and if he even knows that he has a child in the first place. Hello, good evening. Good evening, Deacon Ben.
Yeah, this is good. Good evening.
Thank you very much for calling. How are you today?
Very well. How has your day been, Center?
Good, good. Thank you for asking.
Alright. Today's issue is quite tricky,
Mm, mm,
honestly. I don't know, such a dirty situation that needs clear, honestly. But I think, in honest, you made a very valid point, and somebody raised the issue of involving a pastor. And you asked the question, what is the role of the pastor in this uh, incident? Yeah, there's something we call restitution. When one wants to restitute, irrespective of whatever it is, you involve the spiritual or higher authority. So this person is standing before the dignity and humanity. For the fact that they see this man as God's representative, you can own your heart depending on the kind of a pastor he is anyway.
mm.
So when one wants to make restitution, it is important to apply wisdom. Otherwise, it will be tragic. Now, let me come to the issue on ground. So if somebody says, tell your husband now, that person is not wrong. And if the person says, keep this secret between you, yourself only, that person also is not far from the truth. The reason is that it's a two-way sword. If you don't handle it with care, it will destroy the one handling it. So one needs to be very, very careful. Let's not forget that the future and the social well-being of that child should be considered. All along, the child has known this man, the foster father now, as the biological father. He calls him daddy. He has never known any other man in his life apart from this man. How is it that big believe that the man we've called this father for the past 12 years is not your real father? If the child was adopted, okay, let him know that he was adopted. And he's going to ask one day, you are my father. If you cannot handle it, you're going to be serious problem. Somebody raised an issue. I mean, the question, can the parents, both parents be involved in this? I don't think it is a right idea, Center, and I'll give you a reason for that.
Are you talking of the biological father now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, the biological father. Somebody alluded to the fact that, okay, maybe two families, maybe secret, and break it to them. If you do that,
No, I think the person was talking about the family of Shemu and her husband, not the biological father of the boy now.
and with the same stuff you're sharing, Center,
Okay, I just
with the
needed
same
to
stuff,
point that out.
yeah, with the same stuff you're sharing. What I'm saying, this, you see, I don't know what the tradition is in this part of the country where Shem comes from.
Mm-hmm.
But from where I come from, it's going to deprive that boy a lot of things at the time he grows up. He's not going to have any inheritance in that family. He can't even stand to talk where others are talking. And mind you, the man who knows the truth, wholeheartedly will know that this child is not my child. So I think there are some secrets also that when you weigh how do I put it now,
The pros and cons.
the other effect, the other side of it, you just allow the thing to slide. The one mentioned that this man is hypertensive. There are some men that cannot handle shock like that. If you are not careful and break this news the way this man is self-respecting, this man will just die. And if this man died, the family will not take it lightly with you. They will not take it lightly with you. And even the church also, they will say, this is not our blood. You have killed an entire generation.
So basically, Deacon Ben, you're saying she shouldn't tell him.
So, I think she should just keep that secret between her and her God.
Okay. Now, here's my question, and I will just appreciate you briefly answering this. If she doesn't tell him now, and he finds out later on, all these things that we're trying to prevent now is still most likely going to happen. But this time, it will happen on a much larger scale because the secret has lasted for much longer. So, whatever hurt that he's feeling, if he's going to break down now because he's hurt that she didn't tell him 12 years too late, just imagine how he will break down when she tells him or when he finds out. Because if she really doesn't tell him, that means he's not hearing it from her. That means he's going to find out somehow. And this is if he finds out. Don't get me wrong. He possibly may not. But if he does and he doesn't find out from her, 26 years down the line, or maybe when the guy is graduating university or masters or something, and he's completely established, his life is good, and somehow it comes out into the open. How much, I mean, all these things that we're trying to prevent, his lineage, inheritance, the fact that, the family now knows that this boy doesn't belong to them. The person he's calling daddy now, he would now start to be confused. At any point, is there any point that this will get better if she doesn't tell him now?
Yes. I say yes in the sense that, maturity comes with age. Let's say 10 years ahead at this time now.
Okay, he's going to be 22 then. The boy is going to be 22 then. And the man is going to be, let me see, he's going to be 60 then. 50 rather. You said 10 years.
Let's just work on that assumption that the man is going to be 50, 10 years down the line. But never can tell when the truth will come out. And then the truth eventually comes out about 12 years or 10 years from this time around.
Of course. This is just a rough instance.
The man's state of mind now and what the state of mind will be then can never be the same. And mind you, the last girl of the house is 5 years.
She's 7.
And this one is 12.
She's 7.
That's a gap of how many years? 5 good years.
5 years, yes.
There is tendency that this couple might not have another children. I am telling you. Now, by the time we take away the boy from the list of this man's children, and this man is 50 years or 75 years, this man will reason, the person that will inherit my son, the person that will continue my name, if either you swallow it and take it the way it is, because already you are 75 or you're 60 or you're 50, the maturity depth is better than now that the man is younger. Look at it from that perspective.
Another perspective to look at it is if she tells him now, yes, they may not be having plans to have children anymore now, as of today that we're speaking. But if she tells him this now, chances are that because he knows about this, and if he decides to weigh it and realize that, I don't have a male child right now, if he forgives her and moves on with the marriage, I'm not even sure what the details of the forgiving would be, but they possibly could have another child moving forward. Now that can happen. In another 10 years, that won't be a possibility.
You know what I'm saying? If there is no black male
from the biological father, somebody else said that earlier on.
That's right. If there's no black male coming from the story father of the guy, I don't think it's necessary.
But we don't even know if he knows. That's even the truth. We don't. She didn't tell us whether or not he knows.
If nobody is coming to claim the paternity of the child, you need to trouble yourself.
But she's saying that she's the one. Okay. Now you've answered my question. Okay, I was gonna say that she's saying that she's the one who the guilt is eating up. So So when you say talk to God, then she and God can settle that. Well,
That's right.
Dick and Ben, thank you so much for calling.
It's okay.
Enjoy the rest of your
God
night.
bless you,
Thank
bro.
you so
All
much.
right.
Okay, long conversation, but the point here remains that Dick and Ben is saying it would be advisable when you weigh the pros and cons of telling him this now that you don't tell him. He mentioned the fact that if you tell him now, chances are that it would take its toll on the man, being that he's hypertensive. Not only might he have a bad physical reaction to it, meaning that he just might die on the spot, or might develop blood pressure so high that they'll have to rush him to the hospital. He might develop a stroke or anything, but his emotional reaction to it as well might be a major challenge in terms of the way he views the boy. And now he's saying, now, this boy, coming to the boy's side now, this boy who is 12 years of age, still young, still in his formidable years, knows this particular man as his father, as daddy. And now you say that, oh, this daddy is not this daddy. Now, the only thing that popped up in my head when he said that is the boy doesn't have to know. At least not the boy doesn't have to know now. The person who needs to know, according to this whole thing, is the husband. She just needs, or she wants to confess to him, and that's why she's asking, should I tell him? Eventually, they will come to an agreement, or they should come to an agreement whether or not they should tell the boy or not. But all that conversation will come later, after all the hurt, after all the pain has been digested, before they get to whether or not they should tell him. But yes, so Dickenby mentioned that. And of course, he says if they're from a tribe where being a male child is prioritized, it means that he cannot inherit anything. He cannot say anything in family meetings. He can't speak up on behalf of the family because the family would know that he doesn't belong to him. Again, that doesn't have to be the case. This can start and end in that nuclear family. Now, that's the challenge with bringing other family members involved in this. Because if you finally settle it, if they decide that, oh, okay, you know what, I love you so much, I hate what you did to me, and it's breaking up our marriage, and I don't want this to happen because our son is going to be the one that is bearing the brunt of everything at the end of the day. I want us to go for therapy. I'm trying to forgive you, but it's so hard. I can't trust you anymore. Yada yada yada. At the end of the day, maybe they go for therapy, and I'll bear in mind that when this news was broken, and this is just me giving a rough scenario, bear in mind that when this news was broken, both families are present. So her family knows that her first son is not for her husband. His family also knows that their first son doesn't belong to the man. Now, family already knows. They've taken that information to their houses. Only God knows how many people they've told, and that moves from there. Now, within the family, they now decide if they now decide that, oh, they want to settle it. So they go for therapy and they do not tell the boy that he is not their child just yet. Maybe they tell him later on because he's young and they don't want to tell him now, but they later tell him. But the point remains that now they go for therapy, they sort out the whole situation, the marriage is back again, everything is good. But because they've told these family members, now the boy cannot stand up before the family and say that he is this man's child because they now know about it. So at the end of the day, it's going to be just a tricky situation. And goes back to what Dick and Ben said, the pros and the cons, which will matter more at the end of the day. So he ends by saying, if the biological father of the child is not threatening to collect him or to have payment made or anything, then there's no point. All right. So, Comrade says, Pastor, is he Jesus Christ? Is the pastor perfect? Why would she confess to the pastor? Pastor, her family. Is pastor her family, be her husband? Maybe the pastor is coming to give her Holy Communion or anointing prayers. Forget Pastor Jerry. Comrade Ikejuku doesn't support the pastor. Is the pastor a marriage counselor? Comrade Godwin, right on. Oh, the families knows for now until the woman confesses. Forget Pastor Bigo. Some told Pastor doesn't have any business in this case. The son is very innocent. Nothing the Okay, I don't get what that means. They cherish the male so much. You can't tell the pastor first before her husband. I don't agree with Mr. Ben today. Nothing is hiding under the sun. How long will the dying emotional lady wait? All right, thank you very much, comrade. Emeka sent this message in saying, good evening to all adult conversation family members. Please show I beg you in the name of God, confess to your husband and save yourself from the whole drama. Even God said in the Bible that we should confess our sins and we should tell the truth and it shall set us free. Just put everything in prayer and see what God will do. Thank you and good night. Thank you very much, Emeka. All right, going back to Facebook messages now. I'll take a few messages and we'll go back to the phone lines. On Facebook, this one is coming from Onaba Charity. So this is a serious matter, but you can ask him a question. How will he feel if you were told that he is not responsible for the firstborn? His answer will determine if you should confess or not. Oluwagbemiga Joshua Babolowedu says, confess now before it's too late, but carry your pastor or imam along. I still do not understand why. Churchill Izuchuku says she has to see the family's spiritual father. Benjaz says, hey, this one over serious. Two problems to solve in one. First, the song doesn't belong to him. Second, he's hypertensive, which if he knows the truth, he may die. Well, my advice is to confess your sin to your pastor or imam. If you're an idol worshiper, go and confess to the chief priest. Then they will call you and your husband, and then in the presence of your hubby, you will confess to him. Only that method may save him from death. Okay. Our General Eniola says, very serious matter. Please try and have another baby to calm him down. And by the way, do you know the father of the firstborn? Agboye Cephas John says, got pregnant before marrying him? I don't understand your story. Did you mean you were pregnant before he married you? Or during when you were dating before you gave birth to a 7-year child for him? Please explain further. I don't really get you, madam. If you gave birth to that 12-year-old child during this marriage, assuming you got pregnant during the marriage, I think you should create time and tell him before time flies more, which would be more complicated. There's nothing new under the sun. Just create time to let him know politely. All right, thank you very much for all your messages. Please keep them coming. 24 minutes to the hour of 11 on Your Women Radio WFM 91.7. This is a very tricky scenario tonight on Adult Conversations, and I appreciate all the messages coming in. Please keep them coming. The phone number is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. You can also send in a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. In case you're just joining us, welcome to Adult Conversations. My name is Sumtu Titilayo Anchama, and this is the story for tonight. My name is Sheung, 35 and a personal assistant. My husband is 40 and a sociologist. We have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, aged 12 and 11. 12 and 7, pardon me. Our 12-year-old son is not for my husband. I got pregnant before marrying him. I have hidden this truth for a while, and it's eating me deep. These paternity test cases are worrying. My husband is hypertensive, and I'm scared the truth might kill him. Please advise me, should I confess? 07000 917 917 is the number to call. Send in a text or WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. I once had this kind of conversation with a father figure friend of mine, and he said if he ever finds out that any of his children is not his biologically, he's not going to end anything with the child. He's not going to stop being a father to the child. He's just going to end it with his wife. He said he's just going to end it with his wife because if she failed to tell him that, then it's possible she has failed to tell him a lot of other things, and the trust that has been broken cannot be what's the word now? Cannot be revived. The trust that has been broken cannot be revived. So, but he's not going to stop being a father to that child. Should Sheon confess? What are your thoughts? Now, I would personally like to hear from women who have been through this before, or women who have known people who have been through this before. It's important that we get, the full hang of the story tonight. I'd also like to hear from men who, if they're the husband, if you're Sheon's husband, and I'm asking this to the men now, if you're Sheon's husband, how will you react to this information? I received a call earlier, I think that was from Paul, who said, if I were the one who was told this information, It's not, things are not going to end well. Now, when you say things are not going to end well, it could mean a host of different things. The scenarios are vast as regards how badly things can end. That's how I would like to know. If you're a man and you were told that your first son does not belong to you, what would your reaction be? Hello, good evening. I ask this question because the range of reactions we would get would indirectly assist Chinwo on whether or not she should tell her husband. Again, those reactions may not be peculiar to her husband at all. It may not have anything to do with him, depending on his personality, the way he processes information, the fact that he's hypertensive, you know, there's a whole lot of factors that may not directly apply to how other men view things that Chinwo's husband will view it. But it just helps to give us a rough idea of how a man would intensify or, pardon me, internalize that kind of information. Please do well to call back. Should she confess? There's so much to gain if she confesses. The biggest thing that she's going to gain is peace of mind, to be honest. That's the biggest thing that she's going to gain if she confesses. Peace of mind. She's going to know that she has given it her best and that she has told the truth. But there's so much more to lose. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Turn down the volume of your radio, please. Have you done that? Okay, so I was saying there's so much more to lose in the sense that she risks her marriage being broken. Because if the man says, I can't trust you anymore, I do not know how many other secrets you're keeping from me, I do not think I want to do this with you anymore because you've broken my heart and you've broken my trust. And if you can keep this away from me, then you can practically kill me. So her marriage is broken. Her son is thrown somewhere in the wind because if her marriage is broken, that possibly means coming back to this. Pardon me, please call again. If her marriage is broken, that could mean either of two things. It could mean that the man takes the daughter away and she gets to keep her son. So she ends up becoming a single mother, and her not only does she end up becoming a single mother, her other child is possibly going to be taken away from her. Now I'm saying this from a point of if the man is this kind of person that will do something like this. Also, the child that knows a certain man, and that's Shemu's husband now, as his biological father, now would now go through an entire identity crisis because now he doesn't know who his father is. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. Hello. Okay, your network is not very good. Please call back. So the boy will start wondering who is my father, and he can try to start finding out who the father is. Enter the biological father. If the boy finds out who his father is, now the question of, oh, do I want to live up to my biological responsibilities as the biological father of this boy, or do I not care about it because maybe I now have my own family and all of that? That's a whole other business. Hello, good evening. So, and then the daughter, if the man takes her away, if Shimon's husband takes her away, the daughter now loses contact with her mother, and the presence of a mother figure is taken away from her life. So there's just so many layers of this if she tells him. But at the same time, there's a fact to consider that if she doesn't tell him, he's going to find out one day. Again, only luck would make him not find out in his entire lifetime that his son doesn't biologically belong to him. Hello, good evening.
Wow. No, wow. You don't have to take my call or what?
My sister, you know go verse, so you know how many people they call. No verse, I beg.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Ayamiki.
Hi, Ayomide. Where you calling from?
Calling from Curtin.
Thank you. Thank you for calling. All right, we're very.
Ma, this will be a lesson for young ones outside. To be honest with you, I do tell my friends something. Don't hide your feelings when you want to develop your relationship with anyone. Because when you hide whatever it is, later it will not become problems as it is for this age now. Our advice are to discuss everything with the man. Whatever the man wants to do, let him do it. Because if he doesn't do it right now, if our country will be judging her forever. And if the man later knows in future, it might cause something bad. So I advise the woman to explain herself right now. So that's what I will just tell you. That's my advice to the woman. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayomide. Thank you for calling. Ayomide says it's better off now to tell him than to tell him later in the future. And she says this will serve as a piece of advice to younger girls coming to younger girls basically, because and she's right. She's right. Whatever happened that she got pregnant before she got married could have been prevented. Again, as I said, not to blame anyone. This is not to blame anyone at all because it could happen to literally anybody, but it is also a completely preventable situation. So, for everyone listening out there, just be careful. Be careful when you pick the choice, when you made your choice of your life partner, be careful so that mistakes you make does not end up affecting the lives of so many other people that are tied to you in future. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name?
Yeah, Mrs. Ovi calling from Norway.
Mrs. Ovie.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma. In fact, like what the last caller has just said, in fact, this life, you don't even know what will happen. The people they are not aware. You don't know, you don't understand. So please let us just, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's not easy. They let us just call our husband and find a way. Need every way, any hardship that you can do it better. Any hard place so that you can honor and say, I want that, please. This is what happened with humility. And I pray that the man will understand, to understand. I just pray that the man will understand. So it's not easy at all. It's not easy.
Yes.
This thing can even save the man, or you can just end this marriage because
anything can really happen. Anything can happen at this point.
Yeah, but it's better for us to just stand up and say, this is what I have done. At least 7 will be a witness that yes, she has said it. And before she goes, let us go to God in prayer, fasting.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ove.
Let her ask God for mercy before she can do that. I think that God will take come to her.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good night, Mrs. Ove. Thank you. Okay, Mrs. Ove is saying, go to God in prayers and fasting before you talk to your husband about it. I think somebody said this earlier, that let God soften the heart of him that he's listening to the confession. Seek mercy from God and let God just take control, because she's saying it's better to tell him now than to tell him later on. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
It is either called back.
I'm sorry, say that again.
It's either called back.
Oh,
tell you to
okay.
cut
Okay.
down.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Ma, it's not as if we are blaming or we're judging anybody here.
Absolutely.
But the truth of the matter is that I'm also a young person. I've not developed, I've not married as well. If I had any issue before I step into it, I'm going to tell him. If he doesn't want to marry me, let him go. God will provide the person that will marry me with my problems for me. To be honest with you, ma, see, as soon as he has told this man this, he should have rest of mind right now, honestly speaking. Because there are some women, or there are some men that say, I don't want after a child, after this. There are some men that want that. There are some women that don't want that. But please, don't let us hide our feelings. I'm still saying it. It's not that I'm judging her. No matter how this love, how strong the love is. In fact, the only thing I would just advise the woman to do, if the woman cannot just call the man, the woman should just go to the pastor of their church and tell the pastor to like, okay, call both of them and converse in front of the pastor and apologize. That's what I can just say right now. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, we're not judging. We're not judging, and I appreciate you saying that. We're not judging, but she's saying that it would have been better off if she had told him this before they got married. Now, yes, it would have been better off, but we're here now, and we need to work on the current situation of things. But she's saying she's using this as a medium to tell other young girls out there that sometimes it's not just worth this stress. And then it's better to open up to the person that you want to be with. And if they do not want to be with you at the end of the day, then at least you know that you gave it your best and you were open and honest with them. But my only slight question would be, what if she didn't know that she was pregnant? What if she found out that the child was for this other guy after she married him? Like literally after the baby even came. Maybe she didn't find out on time. Maybe she didn't figure it out on time. Maybe she had a momentary lapse in judgment where she stepped out on her relationship and ended up with somebody else and got pregnant in the process of intercourse and didn't know. And then after she got married, maybe a month or 2 months after she got married, she realized, oh, she was, maybe a month after she got married, she realized that she was 3 months pregnant. And then you would be like, oh, okay. Automatically, she knows that the baby is not for her husband. But does she want to tell him at that point? Apparently, she didn't. Now, her son is 12 years old, and we're where we are today. So there's so many layers to this, so many layers to this, and the futures of a lot of people are at stake here. And I don't mean whether or not they will live to see the future. No, that's not what I mean. I mean the security, the sheltered life that they live now, the security of the life that they live now, of the familiarity of the life that they live now, like father, mother, 2 children. That will completely be tampered with as soon as her husband finds out. A lot of the answer to these questions will depend on the husband's reaction, which we cannot predict at this point, and that's why we're giving advice. So far, we've heard that she should pray about it and fast about it, and do her own due diligence in terms of prayer before she approaches her husband. We've also heard that she should involve a spiritual authority, and that person, she can either tell him before she tells her husband, and he can come with her to break the news to her husband, or she invites him and tells both of them at the same time, waiting and hoping that that the spiritual authority would step in and be a good mediator for that conversation. It's also been said that she should work on having another baby before telling him about it. So at least it will be a consolation to the husband that, oh, you still have another child who is mine, by the way. They've also said talk to both families, get your family involved, get his family involved, and get them to sort out the matter. a lot of people have also said, do not tell him because you stand to lose more than you stand to gain by telling him. At the end of the day, some schools of thought today have said um, telling him is just to relieve yourself of the guilt and the and the fact that you've been carrying this all along for so long. That's really the only gain that you get by telling him. And other schools of thought are saying the fact that you get to release all that guilt is important because it would stifle you for the rest of your life if you don't tell him, and it may not end well. Another school of thought is saying he will find out eventually because there's nothing hidden under the sun. So if you don't tell him today, he will still find out later on. And when he does find out, it might not go well then either. So much has been said tonight, and I appreciate the tact and the compassion and the empathy by which we give every single piece of advice tonight. For me, I'm very glad that we did that because it just helps us understand that um, people are different, people make mistakes, and we have to acknowledge that people make mistakes and know how to treat it. So, thank you very much for all the compassion and all the empathy that was put into every single piece of advice that was given tonight. Let me read this last set of messages and then I'm out. So, there's never a good time to break someone's heart. But if telling them the truth will make certain decisions for the good of their lives, then it should be told. Sometimes what we think may lead to a grave consequence may actually not turn out to be so. I know making a confession will change the state of the marriage and the relationship in the family, yet I'll advise you to make a confession and set yourself free, even if the worst comes out of it. The husband and son need to know what they need to know about each other, both for now and the future. After all, there's nothing that will ever happen to any human that they are not fated by nature to bear. I wish you well. And this one's from Twain. Mary from Ikorodu says, my dear, it's hard, but my advice for you is to tell him. I know it's not easy to say, but please, the truth is more important. Let him know now, because it might be too late. And that's from Mary from Ikorodu. Tokwa again from Ikorodu is saying, good evening to all. Shewon's case is like a time bomb waiting to explode. Wow. Inuma Jinyo. Inuma Jinyo. Oh, okay. Inuma Jinyo. How can you wait till this time? Nevertheless, you need to speak out, but how to convey it to your husband is what I really don't have an answer to. He needs to know before the situation gets critical. God will intervene on your matter. Now, I remember clearly that there was a message that said, or somebody called in and said, um, I'm not saying you should not tell him. In fact, I'm saying tell him, but it's the way you should tell him now that is critical. So she proposed that Sharon should tell her husband that she wants to leave the marriage, she wants to end the marriage. And then when her husband is trying to find out why she wants to end the marriage, then she can come out and say, this is the reason. And if her husband still wants her to end the marriage or still wants to end the marriage the confession, because of the confession he has heard, then at least um, Sharon would have told him with genuine remorse and repentance. I want to thank you all for your contributions tonight. I'm sure that Sharon will be able to take an informed decision from all of that advice. On behalf of Sharon, I say thank you again, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow, same time, 9 to 11 p.m., same station, Women Radio 91.7, same program, Adult Conversations. Thank you to my producer, Taiwo Adeleye, the engineer on duty, Blessing Inuma. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama. Please keep safe and have a beautiful night.
Oh my beautiful love, this song now you I stumble. I can't explain what I'm feeling, but I know it is real. Oh dear, my beautiful darling, you make my dreams come true. And I would do anything for you. They say that I'm a fool. Well, that's fine, 'cause I'm WFM. Moving to inspire and to bring the culture of silence. Here is 91.7, the voice of women, the voice of women, the voice of women. 91.7, the voice of women, the voice of women, the voice of women. 91.7 WFM.